Tonight, a drugs bombshell. Melbourne to get a second safe injecting room. The site, a short walk from the Queen Victoria Market, one of our biggest tourist drawcards. The PM declares tomorrow's planned Black Lives Matter protest disrespectful, as police warn they'll fine organisers who breach social distancing laws. Hundreds of mourners pay tribute to George Floyd, as 3 of the police officers accused over his murder face court. A Victoria police constable fined thousands of dollars for kicking out at a man in handcuffs, but he may not lose his job. And after 2.5 months in lockdown, dining in is back on the menu at Crown, but the gaming tables are still off limits.
This is 10 News First Melbourne with Jennifer Keyte.
Good evening. First tonight, the Premier's bombshell announcement, a second injecting facility for Melbourne, near one of our biggest tourist attractions, the Queen Victoria Market. Daniel Andrews insists it's needed to save lives, but critics have branded it irresponsible and dumb.
With families who've lost loved ones to drugs watching on, the Premier made the shock announcement. A second drug injecting room less than 100 metres from one of the state's most popular tourist attractions, the Queen Victoria Market.
This is very important because it will save lives.
And grieving mother Loretta Gabriel is convinced it could have saved her son Sam. He died of a heroin overdose almost 4 years ago, aged 27.
He would be alive if we had it before he died.
The decision on the preferred site followed a review of Victoria's first injecting room at North Richmond. That site will remain open for at least another 3 years, but it remains controversial.
Lots of words, but no action.
On even the most conservative of reckoning, 21 lives have been saved. There have been no deaths in that facility.
The Premier says there'll be further consultation on the city site, but the police union swiftly condemned the decision, saying it ignores the concerns of frontline police.
We think a decision to implement or extend is irresponsible.
And the union fears a second site will place extra pressure on police resources.
But we will give honest, frank and fearless advice based on what we hear from community and what our members tell us. And they're telling us this is a dumb idea.
Traders have expressed alarm too.
None of us are happy about it.
The proposed site is a former army barracks. It's currently a community health facility which is testing patients for COVID-19. It neighbours busy tram stops and the market. Queen Victoria management were only notified about the decision this morning. Long-time butcher Linda Tatsimas wants the facility in a hospital, not next door.
It's going to frighten a lot of customers off.
And those customers agree.
Not so sure that that's a good idea.
But families of drug addicts maintain it is.
Where we can come to safely use our show, a safe room to keep us alive.
Simon Love for 10 News First.
State political reporter Simon Love joins us live now. Simon, the City of Melbourne was caught by surprise by this announcement and the Lord Mayor is furious.
Sally Capp is absolutely furious, Jen. She's seeking an urgent briefing from the government on this proposal. But the 10 News First understands that the Premier's office notified the Lord Mayor about this decision late yesterday after Cabinet ticked off on the recommendations from the review into the first medically supervised injecting facility at Richmond. This decision coming at the end of a week, at the end of a parliamentary sitting week. Parliament will have to tick off on the second facility, just a stone's throw away from the market, but that's a given the numbers in the upper house. So within months we could see a second medically safe injecting room just metres from the Queen Victoria Market.
OK, thank you very much, Simon. Tomorrow's planned mass protest rally in Melbourne has been condemned by politicians and senior health officials. It's also sparked a fresh warning from police. Annie Kearney joins us live now. Annie, how many people have expressed interest in attending this event?
Well, if social media is anything to go by, Jen, more than 40,000 people have said they'll be attending the protest on the steps of Parliament House tomorrow. It is part of the Black Lives Matter movement, with these protests spreading across the world after the death of George Floyd. Here's what organisers had to say about why tomorrow's protest is so important.
This is a global and historic movement, a product of hundreds of years of systemic racism and policing that the state has contributed to.
Those organisers are risking being fined for breaching coronavirus orders. The state government, Victoria Police and Victorian medical officials have called for the protest to be cancelled. The Prime Minister has also weighed in, saying there are better ways for people to express themselves.
Those Australians who couldn't attend the funeral of a family member, or couldn't see a loved one in a nursing home, or a veteran who couldn't remember their fallen colleagues by attending a war memorial service on Anzac Day. I think all Australians owe all those other Australians a great duty of responsibility, and I say to them, don't go.
Now, all this talk about a protest tomorrow comes amid 3 more cases of COVID-19 being detected in Victoria in the past 24 hours. 2 of those are returned travellers who are in hotel quarantine, while the third is a child who attends Newbury Primary School in Craigieburn. Jen, that school has closed to be cleaned, and close contacts of that child have been told to isolate for 14 days.
OK, thanks very much, Annie. An emotional memorial service has been held to honour George Floyd, the man whose death in US police custody sparked demonstrations around the world. And as people gathered across America to protest for a 10th day, there were more sickening examples of police violence. A warning viewers may find images in this story confronting.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds, they stood silent.
That's how long he was laying there. There's no excuse.
George Floyd gasping for air under the knee of a Minneapolis police officer.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
Amazing grace.
He did not die of common health conditions. He died of a common American criminal justice malfunction.
There was also celebration for the joy his 46 years brought to those close to him.
You know, George, he was like a general. Every day he walks outside, there'd be a line of people, just like when we came in, wanting to greet him and wanted to have fun with him.
But his gold-plated coffin departed in an atmosphere of anger.
That could have been my dad! That could have been my brother! That could have been my cousin! That could have been my nephew! No justice, no peace! Rescue police!
Down the road, 3 of the police officers involved in his murder were facing court, with bail set at just under $1.5 million each. One of them, Thomas Lane, only had his badge less than a week.
What would your state of mind be if you were work your rear end off to become a cop, and 4 days on a job you're accused of murder?
Despite pleas from George Floyd's brother to end the violence,
I'm proud of the protest, but I'm not proud of the destruction.
There were more clashes across the country today. That sickening thud is a man hitting his head on the pavement in Buffalo, New York, as police try to enforce a curfew. Fortunately, he only suffered a concussion. Officers also appeared heavy-handed in LA, where thousands flooded the streets in protest.
We understand that nobody should lose their life for a petty crime.
Days of hostility have eased in the national capital, but authorities there are bracing for more trouble. In the past, presidents have been worried about fortifying the White House, not wanting to make it look like democracy was under siege. Today, the military has moved out from the front, but the fence line was extended again. More high-profile names joined the chorus of condemnation of George Floyd's death. Meghan Markle drawing similarities to the Rodney King riots in LA back in 1992.
I am so sorry that you have to grow up in a world where this is still present.
Perhaps this time around, it'll be the 8 minutes and 46 seconds which change the lives of this family that might change the world. Eamon Ashton Atkinson for 10 News First in the United States.
A Victorian police officer has been spared a criminal conviction for kicking a man under arrest. Instead, the judge fined the senior constable $10,000, paving the way for him to return to the force.
Ross Fowler was suspended with pay when he was found guilty of recklessly causing injury to a man in handcuffs. A jury cleared him of more serious assault charges, but found this kick in the back was unlawful. Now the senior constable has avoided a conviction. He hopes to return to policing.
He won't be saying anything. Thank you, but he's not going to say anything.
What this case demonstrates is that police are investigated. They are investigated independently, and where required, these matters are brought before the courts.
In 2016, Fowler and his partner were called to a verbal domestic dispute at Frankston North. When the officers arrived, Brian Jackson was in the driveway. Before he was handcuffed, he was capsicum sprayed, pushed and struck with a torch.
It is clear on the CCTV footage that Mr Jackson was not attempting to escape. Your kick was an entirely unnecessary act.
The officers were told Mr Jackson was alcohol and possibly drug affected, but he hadn't tried to confront police.
The community is entitled to trust that even in these challenging circumstances, police officers must act lawfully, which demands a great deal of judgment, tolerance and patience.
The judge said there's no evidence that Ross Fowler has shown any remorse or regret about how his actions affected his victim. The 51-year-old maintains his defence that Mr Jackson remained a threat even after he was handcuffed. He avoided a conviction because of his otherwise clean record. Emma O'Sullivan for 10 News First.
Well, some of Crown's most popular restaurants are gearing up for their first weekend of trade since the pandemic hit. And even though their patron numbers are limited, customers are so eager to return, the businesses have waiting lists.
It used to be part of our everyday lives. Now dining out is the hottest ticket in town.
Wow.
Some of Crown's most popular restaurants, including Nobu, Bistro Guillaume and 400 Gradi, are reopening.
Buongiorno guys, welcome to Gradi.
And they couldn't be happier about it.
Yes, I walked in and I saw the full team in here and I was like, it's a kitchen again.
At 400 Gradi, the ovens are firing again. And the award-winning pizzas are beckoning.
I think now it's the time where people are saying, okay, let's go out, you know, and what's a good entertainment? Eating out.
Physical distancing rules and customer limits are in place, but excitement levels are high.
It was quite an emotional briefing before the midday of happy faces. We are like a family here and everybody's happy to be back together.
These restaurants aren't just booked out, they now have waiting lists because after 10 weeks of having to cook at home or order takeaway, people are excited to get back out and be spoiled again. Thank you.
We love to spoil people and make them feel special and have an awesome experience.
Crown's other offerings like Rosetta, Rock Pool, The Atlantic and Spice Temple will reopen later this month.
So from the 22nd of June, when the restrictions ease a little bit more and we can have 50 people, we'll see the majority of the restaurants open up.
But for those who are open, it's time to plate up.
I think friends from Melbourne are very excited to come out and to enjoy a little bit of French je ne sais quoi.
Candice Wyatt for 10 News First.
Well, now here's Stephen previewing sport, and no change to the Spring Racing Carnival.
That is right, Jen. The Caulfield Cup will stay put in 2020, and that has made some people very unhappy. We'll cross live as the Storm prepares to battle the Rabbitohs. Clarko backs Chad over his media ban, and Libba ready to be set loose in time for the season restart.
Thanks, Stephen. Coming up in 10 News First, the PM outlines tough new national security tests for foreign investors. And Australia's coronavirus research, another step closer to a vaccine.
There's 11 of us left, which is only one spot away from that top 10. With that comes this huge weight of pressure.
I'm back to win because I've got that fire in my belly and I just want to see how far I can push myself.
I'm a very competitive person, and this year it's about proving to myself that I can go the whole way.
The best 11 remain. And Melbourne, we've got triple the chance to win.
I was so close last year. I want that top spot.
I'm here to be in the finale.
I want my name on that trophy.
Will a contestant from Melbourne win this year's MasterChef? The top 10 will be revealed 7:30 Sunday.
It's the final days of Anaconda's massive 20 to 50% off store-wide sale. Huge savings on camping gear, bikes, kayaks, fishing gear, clothing, footwear and more. Some exclusions apply. 20 to 50% off sale. Hurry, final days at Anaconda.
The biggest thing since joining my budget is that we've eliminated almost all of our debt. And honestly, we have my budget to thank for that.
Call My Budget now for your free consultation.
Ah, cold Milo. The colder the better. The crunchier top the better. Yep, it's what us cold Milo lovers love best. What side are you on?
When headaches hold you back, try Nurofen Quicksorb. Its advanced formula absorbs quickly, relieving headaches fast. For quick, effective pain relief, choose Nurofen Quicksorb.
Slugger.
Steve?
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new tastier New Yorker range, now with even more authentic ingredients, like huge pepperoni on a giant-sized New York pizza. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
Let's do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse doesn't win but runs second, third or even fourth in all races at Eagle Farm, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed Stocktake Sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. All up to 50% off at Bedshed. That's why no one's better in the bedroom.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen before.
Kim Jong-un has resurfaced.
I'm really happy now. It's really made my day.
And this time, it's celebrities on the couch.
Oh, that's James Brown.
My James Brown is dead.
Oh.
Join the famous and their families.
Who the is that?
For Celebrity Gogglebox USA, Thursday on 10.
Overseas buyers looking to invest in Australia could soon face a new national security test as part of a major government overhaul. The reform would also give the Treasurer the power to overturn sensitive sales.
As the world lunges from one crisis to another, the Australian government is moving to safeguard national security, announcing a major overhaul of its foreign investment regime.
Investment in Australia must be on our terms, on our rules and in our interests.
There are concerns some sensitive sectors are escaping screening.
Investments in critical infrastructure and sensitive businesses and data centres and things of that nature. Australia has the most liberal set of rules in our part of the world.
Oh, I think everybody in Australia knows that everything worth owning is owned by foreigners.
The proposal includes a tough new national security test, the capacity to review all sensitive sales, new investigative powers, and the ability to prevent or overturn deals.
The world over, governments are seeing foreign investment being used for strategic objectives, not purely commercial ones.
But it won't be retrospective, which means the Darwin port will remain under Chinese control.
It was not sold with the authority of the federal government. The weaknesses in the system that sale identified were addressed.
Much as I love them for their initiative, I've got to call them out. If you're fair income, take Darwin back.
The planned new legislation was in the works pre-pandemic, but the timing threatens to fray already tense relationships.
Of the nearly $4 trillion of foreign investment in our country, more than 20% comes from the United States, more than 10% from each of the United Kingdom and Japan, and a little over 5% from China.
But PM Scott Morrison doesn't believe it will further irritate Beijing.
No, I don't believe why it should. I mean, countries make decisions on their own interests for their own rules.
The coalition is pushing for the legislation to be passed by the end of the year. Tegan George for 10 News First.
The federal court has ordered the Commonwealth Bank to pay a $5 million penalty over a product offered to rural customers. People who signed up to the Agri Advantage Plus package were overcharged fees and interest on loans and underpaid interest on savings. More than 8,600 customers were ripped off to the tune of more than $8 million. The court acknowledged the behaviour wasn't deliberate and the bank has since fixed the problem and reimbursed those affected. The state's ability to respond to emergencies will be strengthened thanks to the opening of a new 000 centre in Melbourne's west. Police and SES Operations' new purpose-built centre in Williams Landing will also aim to expand to include fire and ambulance services. Operators currently answer more than 2.6 million calls each year. Let's take a look at the traffic now. Jess Miller's in the chopper.
Thanks so much, Jen. Happy Friday. Just over the ring road in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper, we spotted an incident. This is Greensborough bound just after the Tullamarine Freeway. As you can see, it is out of the running lanes. Vic Roads are on site assisting. Traffic is slowing down just a little bit past the scene. We had another smash which caused massive hold-ups earlier. That was near Sydney Road. Fortunately, has cleared now. Jen?
Thank you, Jess. And ahead in 10 News First, the jailhouse revelations that have Madeleine McCann investigators thinking the worst. And candles burn to mark a chilling moment in history.
And you've got to be happy. The long weekend's with us. Weather details shortly, and we get to meet Alfred. Yeah.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Go Gaga tonight on 10.
And here we go.
Woo-hoo! From 7:30, Jamie goes Gaga over his latest creation. Then later, Graham goes Gaga for Gaga.
People have the right to dance at home, so crank it as loud as you can.
Crank it up with Jamie and Graham tonight.
1, 2, 3, 4. So clap it back. Hey, clap, clap. So clap it back. Hey, I'm getting you right back. 'Cause you're not gonna stand around living like that. So clap it back. Clap it, clap, clap. Alright, so clap it back. Hey, hey.
Centrum provides multiple health benefits in just one tablet. Centrum, complete from A to Zinc.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this AFL Season 1 to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at halftime and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
Customers in Victoria told us on average they saved $218 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $229 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Muscle and osteopain can really tie you down. That pain is caused by inflammation. Nurofen helps reduce inflammation and relieve osteo and muscle pain for up to 8 hours. Break free with Nurofen.
Life's changed for all of us, but Bupa's here to help. Because isolation shouldn't mean you're on your own. Because you can't get out, we'll help you at home. Because our health has never been so important. And because by staying apart, we'll get through this together. Bupa, because life happens.
The world's most exotic fragrances are made by nature.
That's why we've created Botanica fragrances, infused with natural ingredients that are responsibly sourced. Botanica by Airwick.
This Saturday with Sportsbet, get the best payout across all 3 tabs with top-toed exotics. Nail a quinella, trifecta or even the quaddie and you'll get the biggest return. Top-toed exotics from Sportsbet.
Chloe and Zoe are twins and Amy customers, so you have the same taste.
We both like our crafted cushions and finished faux fur. We love our HD, LED, LCD, 4K, pixel TVs.
Do you choose to save now or later on your insurance?
Later.
Buy a home or car insurance policy and Amy Flexi Premiums lets you vary your excess to save now or later. Choose a higher excess to save now or choose a lower excess to save at claim time.
You're with Amy.
It's Gogglebox, like you've never seen.
Who the f*** is that?
New Celebrity Gogglebox USA, Thursday.
You're watching 10 News First. Police in Germany have now identified the man they suspect killed Madeleine McCann in Portugal 13 years ago. He's a known child rapist and career criminal who's currently in a German prison for other crimes.
The disappearance of 3-year-old Maddie McCann. It's the mystery that's gripped the world for 13 years.
Madeleine Beth McCann.
German police now believe they know what happened and who is responsible. Christian Bruckner. The state prosecutor revealing the accused is a sex offender with several previous convictions who was also convicted of sexual abuse of children. Prosecutors say they have almost enough evidence to charge Bruckner with the murder of Maddie McCann. He lived in the area where the then 3-year-old was taken. Phone records put him there the day Maddie disappeared. The next day, he changed the registration of his car and left the area shortly after.
Keyte and Jerry have welcomed this latest development. They are realistic. They simply want to know what happened to their daughter.
When Maddie disappeared, Portuguese authorities put together a list of 600 suspects. Bruckner's name wasn't on it. That didn't come until Scotland Yard got involved in the investigation. Several years later, German authorities were tipped off that the child sex offender had allegedly confessed to abducting Maddie. British police have also linked him to 2 cars found near where the little girl disappeared.
They need to know as they need to find peace, and I think anybody with children, in fact anybody at all, can understand that and relate to that.
And now, after more than a decade, Maddie McCann's parents may finally get that closure. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
Tens of thousands of people have defied bans to stage vigils marking 31 years since the Tiananmen Square crackdown in Beijing. China cited coronavirus fears for cancelling official events, but the decision comes off the back of its parliament ruling to implement new security laws in the territory, effectively ending its independence. Many also paid their respects in Taiwan to pro-democracy victims killed when soldiers opened fire back in 1989. Well, the world is eagerly awaiting a coronavirus vaccine to get life back to normal, and one heavy-hitting philanthropist is backing researchers to get the job done within 12 months. Microsoft founder Bill Gates has tipped in more than $2 billion to help the cause.
The chance of success is actually pretty high. The very best case might be to have something before the end of the year. More likely will be into 2021.
Bill Gates is part of the Global Vaccine Summit, which also saw Boris Johnson pledge almost $3 billion in support from the UK. And now here's Mike with a look ahead to the weather.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Well, first up, if you struggled to get out of bed this morning, you weren't alone. It was freezing, just 4 degrees in the city. Our coldest Melbourne morning since September last year, and it was below 0 in the Yarra Valley. But once we thawed out, it was a glorious day. Blue skies, light winds, the mid-teens around Melbourne. In fact, 15 degrees in the CBD, although it is cooling down as we speak. OK, it is Friday. It is 5:30. Time to give a dog a home and have a look at this gorgeous older dog, a 13-year-old toy poodle. Now, this is Alfred. Alfred needs a home, a gentle home. Details there
at dogshome.com. OK, we're on the eve of a long weekend. Got to be happy with that. And, well, a bit of rain about, but not nearly as much as early expected. So got the full details in just a moment. Jen.
Thank you, Mike. Still to come, we'll have an update on the day's finance and a whale lifesaver's gift he hopes will fund other good deeds at sea.
The best 11 remain, but only one can be crowned Master Chef.
I have unfinished business.
I can go all the way.
There's so much that I've got to prove.
I came back to win.
I want this so bad.
The top 10 will be revealed Sunday.
People are really surprised at what we do have and what we stock. We've got a full smart home range from lights to security locks to cameras, everything to control your home in a smart way.
We use the security system that we've got from Bunnings to look at our dogs. When they're being naughty, we can just say, Billy, Georgia, and they'll just look at the camera and they know.
So you can have this amazing tech for a really low price.
Bunnings Warehouse.
Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
Do it, baby.
Song, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse doesn't win but runs second, third or even fourth in all races at Eagle Farm, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
Which delicious new Arnott's Cracker Chips flavour will you try first? Hickory ribs with sticky glaze or mozzarella and basil bruschetta? Arnott's Cracker Chips, oven roasted, never fried.
The Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance is on now. Save on quality furniture for your entire home. Limited stock, limited time. Nick Scarley half-yearly clearance. Hurry.
If dry or flaky skin is causing you frustration and embarrassment, try E45 cream. It soothes and relieves by creating an effective barrier to protect against skin dryness. Feel comfortable in your skin. Switch to E45.
Customers in Victoria told us on average they saved $218 by switching their comprehensive car insurance, and on average they saved $229 by switching their combined home and contents insurance online to Budget Direct. So who should you switch to? Budget Direct. Insurance solved.
Harvey Norman, everything for the heart of your home. With great deals across all the leading brands in cooking. Save up to $1,000 on Smeg Portofino packages and up to $700 on Smeg linear ovens. Save up to $800 on selected AEG kitchen appliances. Save up to $700 on selected Neff cooking appliances. Save up to $300 on selected Miele ovens and cooktops. Take advantage of 60 months interest-free. Updating, upgrading, or renovating. Create your dream kitchen now at Harvey Norman.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get $5 odds for either Dawn Passage or Victorum to win the Stradbroke Handicap. PointsBet.
This is Penelope. She is used to the finer things in life and never settles for second best. That's why Penelope's owner is one of thousands who shop online at budgetpetproducts.com.au. Choose from hundreds of your favourite brands, like Sentinel Spectrum, the 3-in-1 protection against flea infestations, deadly heartworm and intestinal worms. With 6 packs under $79, it helps to keep any dog in tip-top condition, which is exactly how Penelope likes to be. Premium brands, affordable prices. budgetpetproducts.com.au.
Hello there. Is the future of Australian retail online shopping? The latest business update from e-retailer Kogan.com might have you thinking that. The company, which sells pretty much a bit of everything, is booming as people's shopping habits shift during COVID. Sales in April and May were up by more than 100% compared to a year ago. The number of new customers grew 126,000 in a month. Just yesterday we were talking about a record plunge in sales in April for the wider retail sector, which includes a lot of bricks and mortar businesses, but this pandemic pivot means Kogan is now worth almost 5 times more than Myer. One of the big 4 banks is stepping up efforts to lure in new customers. Westpac has slashed one of its variable home loan rates by 24 points to 2.69%. It's the lowest on offer by a major bank, but it's only for mortgagees who own at least 30% of their home. The ASX 200 has ended the week in positive territory and it did pass 6,000 a couple of times. Qantas is still rising and at one point today was up 16% for the week. Sydney Airport is following the airline up, but healthcare giant CSL is down despite unveiling a deal with the University of Queensland to develop, manufacture and distribute a COVID-19 vaccine. To the dollar, it's finishing the week strong and is up against all the major currencies. And that's finance.
Gillian Bowen reporting. Australian scientists hope to make up to 100 million doses of a COVID-19 vaccine at a Broadmeadows factory by the end of next year. Queensland University researchers have signed a major deal with a pharmaceutical giant after promising early results.
These scientists have taken a major step forward in the race to find a COVID-19 vaccine.
It's the only way we have to produce herd immunity without trashing the economy and the health system.
Pharmaceutical giant CSL and the Norway-based Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations today agreed to fund human trials and the manufacturing of a University of Queensland-developed vaccine, which has had promising early results.
If you're wanting me to put a percentage figure on it, I can't do that. Preclinical studies would suggest that we have a high chance of success.
The response we've seen in animal studies has been beyond our expectations as well.
Phase 1 of the human trials will start in Brisbane next month, with Phase 2 towards the end of this year in a country where there are new infections, most likely somewhere in the United States or Europe. If the trial is successful, CSL will be able to make up to 100 million doses of the vaccine from its factory in Melbourne's north. And that technology and know-how will be sent to companies overseas so that they too can produce the vaccine. If everything goes to plan, they would be produced by the end of 2021. Globally, there are more than 100 different COVID-19 vaccines still in the pipeline.
That one vaccine's probably not going to be enough. And we'd love to see multiple vaccines come forward, and that's going to help the globe.
Annie Kearney for 10 News First.
Well, now let's see what's coming up on the project.
Tonight, we chat with the family of George Floyd after his moving and inspirational memorial.
With threats of fines and arrests over COVID concerns, will tomorrow's Black Lives Matter protest still go ahead?
We'll look at how mining company Rio Tinto got away with blowing up a site full of ancient Australian artefacts.
And guys, I catch up with some little Australian legends with huge talents.
All that and a whole lot more coming up at 6:30. We'll see you then.
And an update on the roads now. It's back up to the traffic chopper and Jess Miller.
Thanks, Jen. Over the Tullamarine Freeway in the Aussie Home Loans traffic chopper, having a look at a tow truck loading up after a bingle a few minutes ago. All lanes were closed on the exit to Mickleham Road and the Ring Road due to this smash, but most of the lanes have now reopened and it's just this one right-hand lane still blocked. Seems the Ring Road's just gotten busy as well all of a sudden, so we'll fly over there and get an update for you shortly. Jen?
Thank you, Jess. Now here's Stephen with Friday Sport, and the Caulfield Cup will stay put.
Yes, it will, Jen. No change to the dates for the Spring Racing Carnival, but not everyone is happy. Jordan De Goey steals the show for the Magpies. The Roos recruit is loving life at Arden Street. And Cam McCarthy back in the fold at Freo, but will he be headed to the Gold Coast hub?
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
We chat to the family of George Floyd. That's next.
I want a small dog, but then too hate small dogs.
We found a bigger dog.
Imagine if she bites my foot off.
Does size matter?
We love big doggies.
When finding the perfect pooch?
She could be the best dog that we could have. You're going to get well treated.
The Doghouse, 7 o'clock Saturday.
Anita is a stylist in the film industry. Because her house has no tall trees within 20 metres, she could pay less on her home and contents insurance. UE, it's home and contents insurance for individuals like Anita. UE, you insured.
A 28-minute bike ride needs the same amount of energy as it takes to power 3 gaming consoles. What powers you? Uncle Toby's, Australia's favourite oats. 1 kilo oats, half price this week at Woolworths.
I can put my recycling in a plastic bag, right?
No, they won't get recycled like that. Pop them into your recycling bin loose, like your neighbour.
Surely all plastics go in the recycling bin.
Hard plastic containers and bottles are a yes, but soft plastics are a no.
Know your recycling, because what you do makes a difference. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this AFL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at halftime and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact free, we'll be here.
Well, I think he's a gorgeous man, but his hair bothered him. And it bothered me that it bothered him.
So he booked the appointment.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley & Martin could help regrow your hair.
The Nick Scali half-yearly clearance is on now. Save on quality furniture for your entire home. Limited stock, limited time. Nick Scali half-yearly clearance. Hurry.
Get back to the game you love with a Drummond Golf sale. Get 10 to 20% off push buggies and bags, irons and iron sets. A minimum 20% off gloves and apparel. And a minimum 10% off packages. Now on at Drummond Golf.
Still paying an old home loan interest rate? If your rate's older than January 2019 or starts with a 3, you could be overpaying by thousands. Now's the time to find a better deal. And Lendy is here to help. Our process is 100% digital, so you can settle your home loan online without visiting a bank or broker. At Lendy, our home loan specialists are on hand over the phone, by email or via live chat. Find out if you've been paying too much. Lendy, your home for home loans.
This is a Nature Valley checklist. Whole grain oats? Yes. Artificial colours and flavours? No. Delicious ingredients? Yes. Preservatives? No. Big taste? Yes. Nature Valley. Get more out.
Good evening. The Caulfield Cup will stay put in 2020 despite some intense lobbying. Nick Butler joins us from the newsroom. Nick, that decision has made one man in particular extremely angry.
Indeed it has, Stephen. Pete Legrand from the Melbourne Racing Club, well, he's gone right off over this because he was a big fan of the move. He liked the idea of the warmer weather, maybe getting some crowds in and also getting some clear air from the AFL season. But Racing Victoria's played the conservative hand and voted down the plan today. Here is why they did it.
In order to consider making change, even in this COVID-affected world, there really needed to be some compelling reasons for us to do that. And whilst we acknowledge there were some potential upsides around crowds and wagering and the like, we just felt that those issues were uncertain enough at this point in time to warrant making such a significant change to the Spring Racing Carnival program.
Another weak decision, absolutely totally predictable weak decision. Gutless decision as far as I'm concerned. You look at New South Wales, you look at Peter V'landys as bringing in all these innovations and everything, doing things, and here's the Melbourne Racing Club trying to be trying to be innovative, trying to do things, and, well, that's what happens.
There you go. Bang! Get some Peter V'landys about you is the message there. So a nice little stoush is brewing. Now, as for the Cox Plate, that looks like it will be run as an afternoon feature race. So the good oil there, Stephen, is the AFL Grand Final is heading for a night match.
Thank you very much to Nick Butler. Hawthorn coach Alistair Clarkson has backed Chad Wingard's media ban, saying, "We're not there yet on racial equality." But the AFL's restrictions on the players will prevent Wingard from being able to attend tomorrow's protest in the city.
Chad Wingard won't talk to the mainstream media, believing TV coverage of the United States protests has been slanted. His coach is right behind him.
anyone, white, black or otherwise, who can continue to champion this cause, then has certainly got our support.
But attending planned protests in Melbourne tomorrow is a no-go for any AFL player, including Wingard.
If it was feasible for him to attend and he wanted to do that, then we'd have no trouble with it. But yeah, I don't think that's permissible under the guidelines with which we've got to prepare to play.
The Hawks will hit the highway with a good record at Geelong in the memory bank.
Ironically enough, the last time we played down there, we won by 52 points, I recall, and we had a terrific day.
The only problem is that was 15 years ago. Clarkson says Jaeger O'Meara wants to play against the Cats, but they won't make a call just yet.
If you looked at him, certainly his manner around the footy club, you wouldn't even know that there's been anything wrong. And he's keen to play, so we'll just work out that with the surgeons and the doctors probably Wednesday or Thursday next week.
The Magpies got through last night's scratch match unscathed. Jordan De Goey, a standout, booting 6.
Obviously Richmond, you know, a couple of premierships, superstar team, so we've done it before, so confidence is high, but just hopefully we can perform on the day.
Tyler Brown was also eye-catching, pitted against most of the senior midfielders. Isaac Quainer performs strongly and continues his push to break into the senior side. Rob Waters for 10 News First.
Tom Liberatore is firming to be one of the big beneficiaries of the coronavirus shutdown. After missing round 1 with a knee injury, teammates say the tough-on baller has emerged better from the break and looks set to play next weekend.
Yeah, he's been, you know, he's running and completing all the sessions, and yeah, he's one of those players that I absolutely love playing with because you just walk taller around him.
The Dogs restart their season against the Saints on Sunday week. Second-year Roo Jasper Pittard believes North Melbourne has helped turn his life around. The quirky and thoughtful defender has no trouble expressing himself on and off the field, and this week caught up with Nick Butler and Dylan Buckley.
Well, when it comes to expressing oneself on the footy field, Jasper Pittard is pretty much the best and fairest. He's got the feathers, he's got the tats, he's got the long sleeves, and best of all, he can play. Jasper, and you're a dog man. What do we got going here?
I am. This is Zorro. He's an ex-racer, 5.5 years old. Yeah, me and my partner Grace got him just over a year ago now, and yeah, he's pretty much everything to me now.
He's a bit cold there. 9 years you had at Port Adelaide. Into your second year as a shin boner, you seem a very happy, content kangaroo.
Yeah, I do. The way the club's embraced me, and I suppose the combination of coming home back to Melbourne where I grew up has been pretty good for where I was at in my career. So yeah, I'm wrapped, sort of feel like it's turned my career around, but my life around a little bit.
Very tough task for you in round 2, the Giants away. Where are the confidence levels of you and Reece and your mates?
Yeah, we're pretty confident. I mean, we haven't played, it feels like years ago that we played round 1, but we know the Giants had a pretty good win over the Cats in that round as well. So, and we had a great game against them last year, so always going to be a challenge with the calibre of players they've got, but we're really excited for it and think we're really well placed to give it a good crack.
Beautiful. Over to you, Dylan.
Jas, mate, as Nick said, footy's back in a couple of weeks. Talk me through the COVID testing, mate, because it makes me feel I'm pretty happy to not be on a list. It looks very painful.
Yeah, it doesn't tickle, that's for sure. The first few were interesting. Kind of got used to it now, but it feels like, it depends who you get. There's 3 different lanes at Marvel, and sometimes you feel like it's touching the middle of your brain, sometimes it's not so bad. So we'll look forward to that when that's over, that's for sure.
Hey, quickly, have you visited the barber? It looks like we might have gone a little bit more conservative.
Yeah.
Can we reveal?
I'm the barber in the mirror, so... what you actually want me to reveal it?
Yeah, exclusive. There we go.
It's a bit wider. It's that's what I mean. I was actually happy with the yellow, and everyone else hated it. And a few of the boys have said, no, it looks way better now. And I think I tend to like what everyone else doesn't like. So anyway, we see it might be a shave's gone into round 2.
Oh, we like it. It's different. You're different. We love it. More on Facebook later.
2 days after collapsing at training, there are promising signs for Fremantle docker Cam McCarthy. The forward-turned-winger was back on the track today with his teammates, and while McCarthy wasn't able to take part in match simulation, all the tests he has undergone since being rushed to hospital have come back clear.
Yeah, it was great to see him today. I briefly saw him in the corridor this morning, and he's like how he always is. He's a character and someone you love to have around your club, so it's good to see him out on the track a little bit this morning as well, and yeah, it's great to have him back.
Freo face Brisbane when its season resumes next Saturday. Jesse Hogan continues to impress, while fellow forward Matthew Taberner is battling back soreness and is in doubt for the game. Adelaide bosses are wanting to have a face-to-face meeting with legend Andrew McLeod after he questioned the club's culture. The dual Norm Smith medalist is sick of the spin from the Crows and doesn't feel welcome at West Lakes.
We're keen to sit down and understand specifically what he's talking about. Again, I think there was some generic words there, but there's an enormous amount of work taking place amongst the Heritage Committee that's led by John Reid, our Past Players Committee led by Rod Jamieson, the work that Matthew Nix is doing within the football department, and then other activities more broadly that the club's undertaking.
Today, Rod Jamieson, who chairs the Past Players program, described McLeod as a temperamental soul. He was a handy big man and then coach in the waffle, but as a caller, Dennis Cometti has been confirmed as an all-time great. The broadcaster, who started as a disc jockey, became renowned as one of the finest football commentators of his generation over a 51-year career. His voice powerful, his ability to sum up a situation centimetre perfect.
Tom Boyd's got it. Tom Boyd goes long. How will it bounce? The stadium holds its breath. It's a goal.
Everyone has got their way of responding, whether they just raise their voice and shout or whatever they may do. It can be emotional, and if you're caught up in the emotion, it's not hard sometimes to find the right phrase. It just, for some reason, comes to you.
Seven-time Port Adelaide Magpies premiership defender John Abley was also inducted into the Australian Football Hall of Fame. Melbourne Storm were terrible last week, but they get a shot at redemption tonight when they host the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Our NRL man, Rob Waters, is at Storm HQ. Rob, a cracking match tonight between two great teams.
Yes, good evening, Stephen. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. You'd expect a real edge about this game tonight as Melbourne Storm tries to respond to that uncharacteristically ordinary performance last week against the Canberra Raiders. And South Sydney, well, they've been the Storm's bunnies here. They've never won here, but they'll never get a better chance tonight given there's no crowd inside Amy Park tonight, so the atmosphere will be far less intimidating. Still, the Melbourne Storm is trying to do something about that. They've got creative, and they've shot some photos of their members who will be there in the cardboard cutout, so they'll be there in spirit. We'll see how that works, whether it goes okay or whether it looks a tad artificial. And the Storm, they'll be really wanting to respond. You can just imagine how menacing Craig Bellamy has been this week as he tries to lift his team. They'll want a response in attitude, and also they'll try and adjust to the new rules a bit better. They have admitted this week that they were caught on the hop.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the ruck speed was a lot quicker than we imagined it would be, but at the same time, obviously defence came into it a little bit there as well in regards to being able to control the speed of the play of the ball. So that's something that we've worked on this week. And something that we'll continue to work on, but we'll see how we go tonight.
We've heard from inside the Storm camp there may be a couple of late changes. They might go young, but really big game here as the Storm host South Sydney.
Full moon too, thanks to Rob Waters at Amy Park. Rafael Nadal has cast serious doubt over the US Open. The reigning champion says if it was held right now, he wouldn't be going.
With the situation of the virus, I will say no. In a couple of months, hopefully, yes. I cannot predict what's going on the future.
The tournament is still hoping to start on August 31. It's a problem all sports teams are facing at the moment. With minimum crowds, how do they provide maximum cheer? Well, in Taiwan, they tried a dragon boat race. But the idea hit rough seas when the fish at the back started floundering.
我说鱼头君啊，你的姿势怎么看起来怪怪的呢？
Not even a tiger talking to could steady the ship, and while we're certain AFL clubs will probably leave this idea alone, given it's more weird than wonderful, we won't leave them high and dry, and the mascots can row away with our play of the day. I guess, Jen, anything's worth a crack at this stage while there's no crowds.
That's the most bizarre play of the day so far.
I'm sure they know what's going on.
Thank you, Stephen. Coming up, Mike's back with the weather and a great night for moon gazing, but there's a change on the way.
Tommy gets talented Aussie kids to show off their tricks next.
The best 11 remain.
but only one can be crowned Master Chef.
I have unfinished business.
I can go all the way.
There's so much that I've got to prove.
I came back to win.
I want this so bad.
The top 10 will be revealed Sunday.
Introducing BP Rewards. Earn BP points to spend in store.
BP Rewards.
Or get dollars off fuel.
BP Rewards.
Or choose to earn Qantas points.
Totally BP Rewards.
Start earning today. Your rewards, your way.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this Saturday one to remember. Get $5 odds for either Dawn Passage or Victorum to win the Stradbroke Handicap. PointsBet.
What if I get coronavirus?
How do I do my rehab now?
Why is it so hard to get out of bed? COVID-19 is impacting us all differently, which is why we've introduced Medibank COVID-19 Health Assist. With direct access to hundreds of healthcare experts, eligible members can receive health advice and support from their homes at no extra cost. Visit medibank.com.au to see how we're providing better support for our members.
What happens to all the dirt on your dishes? It flows in your dishwasher, affecting its cleaning performance. Add Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner, the only one that cleans your dishwasher while it cleans your dishes. Try Finish In-Wash Dishwasher Cleaner today.
Loving you is easy. Loving you is never a pain in the guts.
Fresh, natural Zimmel. The easy-to-digest milk.
So many things can change in 12 weeks. One of the least to change, the vibrancy of your hair colour. Tresemme Colour Shine Flex. Sulfate-free. Keeps colour more vibrant for up to 12 weeks. Hair defined by Tresemme. The rest is defined by you.
At Coles, there's over $100,000 worth of prizes to be won. Spend $20 in one transaction at Coles, scan your Flybuys card and receive one entry into the prize draw. Plus, get a bonus entry when you buy selected products. Coles, good things, great value.
Do it, baby. It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse doesn't win but runs second, third or even fourth in all races at Eagle Farm, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
With Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, we guarantee all the repairs we authorise.
Hey, good to go.
Looks great. Thanks.
Get that Allianz feeling. Call or search for a quote today.
There's gonna be Monday Night Mayhem when Marty, Denise and Mel join Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention? Monday.
Well, after being closed for more than 70 days, visitors are being welcomed back to Phillip Island's famous Penguin Parade. Despite the easing of coronavirus restrictions, the number of people seeing the little penguins will be capped at 100 per viewing each night. Before the pandemic, the popular parade attracted around 1,000 visitors every evening. Now it's over to Mike for the weather.
Yes, thank you, Jan, and a very good evening. Who would have thought on a Friday it is National Fish and Chip Day? I'd never heard of it, but I thought, you know what? The guys at Hunky Dory, just downstairs of Channel 10, said, come down, have a feast, enjoy it, and tell everybody. So yes, sir, National Fish and Chip Day. And I thought, gives me an opportunity to tell a couple of fish jokes, but I won't do that. But I can tell you that I just heard a story about a fish who had a girlfriend, but he lobster, and then he flounder, but she shellfish. Right, a couple of photos now that have been sent to Mike's Pics at network10.com.au. And first up, this is Valentino, an Italian greyhound racing to assist Alex with his June 30 workload in Werribee. Doesn't look that happy, not a hair in sight. And meet Oscar, getting ready for the big freeze for MND, a lifelong Hawthorn supporter, so I can't really say go Cats. And it was cold this morning. 4 degrees in Melbourne this morning, our coldest day since September last year, and 15 degrees our maximum. So it was icy this morning, but sensational this afternoon. Blue skies all around with just a light breeze. Friday night in your city, 11 degrees. The humidity at 65%, and the wind just a very light south-southwesterly blowing at 5 kilometres per hour. Around Melbourne today, and most maximums were between 13 and 15 degrees. But have a look at some of those minimums. That's why you struggled to get out of bed this morning, and that included -1 in Yarra Valley, and also Laverton was cold, and everywhere else was cold. In fact, it was just 2 at the likes of Tullamarine and also other areas. Across our state today, the last day of homeschooling, and it was more about the minimums than the maximums. It was downright icy this morning, down to -4 at Omeo and Ararat. Many centres 5 or 6 degrees below average for the coldest morning of 2020. There was widespread frost, plus in the northeast and around Lake Eildon, a lot of fog. 17 today's max in Mildura and Walpia. By day, of course, it was plenty of sunshine. Around Australia, talking about sunshine and warm weather, over in Perth today, 25 degrees. Adelaide 16, Hobart 14. It's been raining there this afternoon. Canberra, -5 this morning. They've got -4 tomorrow morning. Sydney 19. And in Brisbane, where there's a guy he's petrified of getting stuck in a lift, and now taking steps to avoid them, 24 degrees. The weather charts. A large high remains the main weather feature for us. Cold, frosty nights and cool days are ahead, but less sunshine this weekend. That low approaching Western Australia would trigger cold, wet weather over there, but it'll be out of gas by the time it gets here. The rainfall chart, wet weather for Tassie, in Victoria, up to 3 millimetres tomorrow along the south coast, mainly about the Otways, but under 1 mil in Melbourne. Sunday, 1 or 2 millimetres of rain, mainly in the morning and mainly along the coast. Interstate, over to Perth, the mid-20s this weekend. Adelaide, the mid-teens this weekend. Hobart only 10 degrees tomorrow, then 12 on Sunday. 23 degrees both days in Brisbane. Sydney 19 tomorrow, then cold and wet on Sunday. Across our state, as accommodation books out for the long weekend, which is very positive. Fog developing overnight inland. Tomorrow will begin frosty, and then mainly sunny in the north, mostly cloudy in the south with some scattered coastal showers. Winds will be light. Ballarat 1 to 11. Dressing gowns again will be the go in the morning. Around Melbourne, petrol again below $1 a litre for your long weekend getaway, and now caravan parks and camping grounds are open, which is great news. 7 to 13 in both Frankston and Geelong. And on the bays, it's smooth sailing with west northwesterly winds of 10 knots tending southwesterly. So for Melbourne, and remember, authorities ask you not to attend tomorrow's rally for health reasons. 6 to 13 for your Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 60% chance of showers from midday, but only a millimetre. Winds will be light. And then Sunday, 7 to 13 degrees, partly cloudy, possibly some morning showers. On to your holiday Monday. To have a long weekend, gotta love that. Only 5 to 13 degrees, partly cloudy but dry. And then, wow, Tuesday, this is going to be a chilly start to the day as we go back to work and go back to school. Just 3 to 15 degrees. Midweek, 7 to 15. Thursday, 6 to 15. And then Friday, around 6 to 15 degrees. 15 is the average for this time of year. Of course, it is the long weekend. Monday, 13. Sunday, 13. And tomorrow, 6 to 13 degrees.
The developing stories we're following tonight. The shock plans to open a second safe injecting room near one of our biggest tourist attractions. Gospel music and a moment for healing as mourners farewell police murder victim George Floyd. And a blunt warning to protesters: keep your distance or risk a fine at tomorrow's Black Lives Matter rally. The Lord Mayor is seeking a please explain from the Premier after he announced plans for a second safe injecting room just metres from the Queen Victoria Market. State political reporter Simon Love is there tonight. Simon, Lord Mayor Sally Capp hasn't held back in her criticism.
Jen, she's seeking an urgent briefing from the government about plans for a second medically supervised injecting facility, which were the recommendations of a review into the trial of a facility at North Richmond. Now, that trial has been extended for another 3 years, while the panel also recommended that another facility be set up on Victoria Street, 80 metres away from the Queen Victoria Market, where we are tonight. Now, the Premier says that the facility at North Richmond has saved 21 lives, and there's been countless overdoses that have been safely managed inside that facility. Here's how he explained it in the shock announcement this afternoon.
There is a need for us to do more to save lives and change lives.
We think a decision to implement or extend is irresponsible when you haven't yet considered the full outcomes of the trial in Richmond. It lacks logic.
The Police Association also went on to say that their members are telling them that this is a dumb idea. Consultation on the new injecting facility will be open for the next 6 months, but is expected to sail through State Parliament given the numbers and the support in the upper house. So we could, Jen, see a second medically supervised injecting facility here in the city of Melbourne within months.
OK, thank you very much, Simon. The anarchy across the US paused fleetingly today at a memorial service honouring George Floyd, the man whose death in custody sparked protests around the world. But there were still shocking scenes in LA and Buffalo, with police knocking one protester unconscious. And we warn some images in this report may be confronting.
10 days of rage met with 8 minutes and 46 seconds of silence. The time it took for George Floyd to die under the knee of a Minneapolis police officer.
As you go through these long 8 minutes, think about what George was going through, laying there for those 8 minutes, begging for his life.
COVID restrictions took a back seat to paying tribute to George Floyd, not just about how he died, but how he lived.
George, he was like a general. Every day he walks outside, there'd be a line of people, just like when we came in, wanted to greet him and wanted to have fun with him.
When he would wrap his arms around you, you would just feel like, everything could just go away. Any problems you had, any concerns you had.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
Fiery protests raged as his gold-plated coffin left the chapel.
That could have been my dad! That could have been my brother! That could have been my cousin! That could have been my nephew!
George's brother made a plea to protesters.
I'm proud of the protests, but I'm not proud of the destruction.
While many police have joined in solidarity, brutality continues in LA. And this in Buffalo. Police attempting to enforce a curfew knock a man to the ground and just keep moving. Fortunately, he only suffered a concussion. Back in Minneapolis, 3 of the 4 officers involved in Floyd's death faced court. Their combined bail set at more than $3 million. Thomas Lane had been an officer for less than a week.
What would your state of mind be if you were work your rear end off to become a cop and 4 days on a job you're accused of murder?
A point that's met with zero sympathy from the loved ones of the life that was lost.
He did not die of common health conditions. He died of a common American criminal justice malfunction.
Natasha Exelby for 10 News First.
Victorian and federal authorities have sent a strong message to those considering attending tomorrow's mass city protest for the Black Lives Matter movement. Annie Kearney joins us live now. Annie, organisers are vowing to go ahead.
They are, Jen. They are vowing to go ahead despite the state government and Victoria Police calling for this protest to be cancelled because of the risk of spreading COVID-19. Organisers are also risking being fined for breaching COVID-19 rules, but they are pushing on. They say this is part of a global and historic movement and it is a product of hundreds of years of systemic racism. The Premier says he understands the depth of feeling around this issue, but that the protest needs to be cancelled.
It's not to say that it's not an important issue. It's not to say that people are criticising the fact that people feel very strongly about this issue. That's not the point. The point is it is not safe to gather in large numbers. That's why we are advising people do not go to that protest.
The state's chief health officer agrees. He says after weeks of lockdown and now the easing of restrictions that tomorrow's protest could spark an outbreak of the virus.
There is a risk that all of the gains that we have made are put at risk by people gathering in large numbers. It takes a single individual who's infectious to potentially transmit to many others when you're in a mass gathering setting.
Despite all of these warnings, Jen, 40,000 people have signalled online that they'll be attending tomorrow's protest on the steps of Parliament House.
Thank you, Annie. A Victorian police officer has been spared a criminal conviction for kicking a man who was under arrest. Instead, a judge fined Senior Constable Ross Fowler $10,000. A jury found him guilty of recklessly causing injury by kicking the handcuffed man in the back.
Community is entitled to trust that even in these challenging circumstances, police officers must act lawfully, which demands a great deal of judgment, tolerance and patience.
The 51-year-old is suspended with pay but hopes to return to the force. Well, in a move that's set to further inflame tensions with China, overseas buyers looking to invest in Australia could soon face a tough new national security test. The federal government has unveiled what it describes as the biggest reform to foreign investment in 75 years, which would give the Treasurer the power to stop or overturn sensitive sales. But the PM doesn't see why it would weaken our relationship with Beijing.
Well, no, I don't believe why it should. I mean, countries make decisions on their own interests for their own rules, and we respect the rules.
The Coalition hopes to have the new legislation passed by the end of the year. Well, let's see what's happening on our roads again. Here's Jess Miller in the Traffic Chopper.
Thanks, Jen. We're up north in the Aussie Home Loans Traffic Chopper. I think a lot of people were hoping to make it home early to start the long weekend, but the major freeways had other plans. It has been a shocker this evening, just like you can see here, the Ring Road Greensboro bound bumper to bumper between Sydney Road and the Hume Freeway. A Toner-bound, also pretty average. Hopefully Monday looks a little bit better. Have a great weekend, Jen.
You too. Thank you, Jess. Well, he was already a hero, but tonight a Gold Coast diver who single-handedly saved a young whale from shark nets is again being showered with praise. The Tinny Man has handed over the funds that were raised for him to ensure more marine lives can be saved.
A handsome reward for a hard day's work.
Thank you very much for all the supporters and Django as well.
Instead of pocketing the money, though, Django Hopkins today paid it forward.
It's going to buy equipment for Sea Shepherd and Apex Harmony, and it'd go to a good cause.
Last month, the experienced diver came across a young humpback whale trapped in shark nets off Burleigh Heads. Unaware help was on the way, and without any hesitation, he leapt straight in to free the stricken mammal himself.
I'm a good enough swimmer, I'm a good enough diver to know, where my limits are, and I had no issues.
In doing so, though, Django breached a number of laws that protect the beloved sea creatures and the often loathed shark nets. The Department of Fisheries launched an investigation that could have seen him hit with a fine of nearly $27,000. But within hours of the rescue, the online community rallied around this humble hero.
I was never expecting that in my whole life, realistically. I'm proud of that.
More than $16,000 was raised to help pay Django's fines, but when he was let off with a warning, he instead donated it to conservation group Sea Shepherd.
We've got some ideas and some equipment that this is going to help us continue that work.
As staunch critics of the use of shark nets, Sea Shepherd gave Django a certificate of bravery for his actions.
And just an average bloke that wasn't going to let a whale die in the nets.
With more whales on the way, Django will leave any future rescues to the experts. Matthew Howard for 10 News First.
Well, Stephen's back now with sport, and a Hawks star receives support from the top.
Yes, he has, Jen. Chad Wingard's controversial media ban has the backing from Alistair Clarkson. The Giants' new skipper ready to avenge last year's grand final humiliation. And the rebel Roo, who's loving life at Arden Street.
Your home means more than ever, and so does having the right home loan. To understand your options, go straight to Aussie. We'll help ensure you have the right loan for right now.
Former prison guards expose what it's really like behind bars in Australian juvenile detention centres. Tonight, 6:30.
Does anti-dandruff shampoo leave your hair dry? New Dove Dermacare Scalp is different. Tiffany used Dove on one side of her hair. The side with Dove is smooth. It fights dandruff and keeps hair smooth and nourished with no compromise. New Dove Dermacare Scalp.
Quick, let us in!
What's the password?
Moonshine.
It has a number in it.
Moonshine 123.
And at least one capital letter.
When you need to snap out of it, have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
When life gives you dirtiness, Godfrey's gives you cleanliness. With products to keep every surface free from spills, dirt and allergens. For a clean and healthy home, Godfrey's Cleanliness.
Are you thinking of separating? Do you know where you stand? Pearson's lawyers can advise you on all aspects of divorce and separation, including financial, property, parenting and intervention orders. Contact Pearson's lawyers to know where you stand.
If you're experiencing abuse or domestic violence, contact 1-800-RESPECT for free, confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Oh dear, it looks like she's not feeling too good. A cup of Lemsip Max Multi-Relief should do the trick. Its multi-action formula helps relieve up to 6 cold and flu symptoms. Lemsip, that's better.
With over 25 million instant scratch-its wins last year, yeah! It can happen anywhere, anytime. Play today.
This is how legends are made.
The legendary Toyota Supra is back. Experience the exhilaration for yourself. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
They can clear our nose and soothe our throat, but they will never relieve our cough.
No, Willie. Vicks Vapor Drops.
Billy, I'm in the middle of something here.
Willie! Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough can relieve our cough now. Move along. Nothing to see here. Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough.
Healthy morning habits help prepare you for the day ahead. Sustagen Hospital Formula Active contains the essential vitamins, minerals and quality protein your body needs to stay strong and active. Sustagen, it's never too late to start.
Get up to 50% off everything during Bedshed Stocktake Sale. Mattresses, bedroom suites, kids' furniture and more. All up to 50% off at Bedshed. That's why no one's better in the bedroom.
Go Gaga tonight on 10.
And here we go.
From 7:30, Jamie goes Gaga over his latest creation. Then later, Graham goes Gaga for Gaga.
People have the right to dance at home, so crank it as loud as you can.
Crank it up with Jamie and Graham tonight.
Racing Victoria has shut down plans for a major shake-up of the Spring Carnival. The Melbourne Racing Club had been pushing to move the Caulfield Cup to November to give the race some clean air and increase the chances of having crowds. But RV instead decided to stick with tradition, a call that hasn't gone down well with some.
Another weak decision, absolutely totally predictable weak decision. Gutless decision as far as I'm concerned. You look at New South Wales, you look at Peter V'landys as bringing in all these innovations and everything, doing things, and here's the Melbourne Racing Club trying to be innovative, trying to do things, and, well, that's what happens.
Racing Victoria also said the Cox Plate will be run in the afternoon, likely pushing the AFL Grand Final to a night game. Hawthorn coach Alastair Clarkson is supporting Chad Wingard's strong stance on racial issues. The four-time premiership coach says the Hawks will support anyone who promotes equality.
We're still not there yet, as we have seen in America, and we're still not there yet to the level that we'd like in Australia. And anyone, white, black or otherwise, who can continue to champion this cause, then has certainly got our support.
Clarkson says Jager O'Meara wants to play against the Cats, but they won't make a final call until late next week. North Melbourne defender Jasper Pittard has credited the Roos for turning his life around. The dashing defender revealed he has been given the freedom to be himself at Arden Street. He also painted a painful picture of the league's COVID-19 safety protocols.
It's gotten better in the last week. You boys rolled out with a couple of blood noses at some stage, and I think we might have said something. So I think they've pulled back on how far they put the thing up your nose.
Good to hear. And for more Jasper with Nick Butler and Dylan Buckley, head to 10 Sports Facebook page after the news. Stephen Coniglio admits the Giants weren't there at the AFL Grand Final, but have now worked through the mental damage the thrashing inflicted. The new skipper sat down with Ros Kelly.
That's an impressive isolation beard you've got going there.
I'll get a haircut actually after this interview. So now that footy and footy's back on, I thought I'd better trim it up.
How did you pass time over the last couple of months?
My girlfriend and I just went straight back to Perth. Started. Had a little bit of piano time, played a lot of tennis.
How's the body feeling?
Body's great. Feeling as good mentally as I am physically at the minute.
What's your style of captaincy?
I just want to be a winning captain. Having a real connection with our staff and players on a personal level and building relationships.
If you have to, will you come down hard on the players?
Yeah, for sure. Need to have those tough conversations when they arise.
You have a new look leadership group around you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's been refreshing. I think having those guys sort of step up. I was, with Cooper Cront coming in as our leadership coach. I think it was just great for him to come in with a new set of sort of ideas, and I was really keen, along with the whole playing group, that we really wanted Lockie and Toby and Jeremy to be part of the official leadership group. I know the weight they hold amongst the group.
What brand of footy do you want the boys to play this season?
I guess that hard edge, that brutal sort of tackling and all that I love. I know the boys feed off that energy when we are playing like that.
Is there any scarring from the grand final?
We addressed it, and any potential, I wouldn't say scarring, but any doubts in guys' head were really quick to address it.
And what do you feel is the most important lesson the Giants learnt from the grand final?
That we're not there yet. I know that we've done the hard work, and they've known we're a big threat and know what we're very much capable of.
Now, as we like to do on a Friday, let's take a look back at the week that was in sport.
It would be hard not to remember these names. COVID may have its claws in the present, but it couldn't stop Australian football recognising the past. In a week of reflection, the highest honour went to a man who inspired action.
Don't think, Mick! Don't hope, do!
Thank you very much, and thank you for your courtesy and goodwill.
For the game's future Hall of Famers, the task was to prepare for round two, no matter who stands in your way. Nick Vloster not the only one forced to dust themselves off. Jack Watts had to play Pull My Finger without any of the laughs.
Hey, pull my finger.
My pleasure. It was a week that blended athleticism and activism.
Then this is your fight too.
Chad Wingard took a silent stand against the media, which got the Hawks talking.
Regardless of the issue, it probably takes some balls to speak up.
At the moment, it feels like finding a laugh comes with a degree of difficulty, but if a horse can win at 283 to 1...
Wider, an absolute bolter over the top, got there!
Surely, we can all defy the odds. Tim Morgan for 10 News First.
And that is what I want to do tomorrow, Jen. Back a horse at 283 to 1.
Good luck with that. OK, thank you, Stephen. Mike will be back after the break with the 7-day forecast.
There's 11 of us left, which is only one spot away from that top 10. With that comes this huge weight of pressure.
I'm back to win because I've got that fire in my belly and I just want to see how far I can push myself.
The best 11 remain. And Melbourne, we've got triple the chance to win.
I was so close last year. I want that top spot.
I'm here to be in the finale.
I want my name on that trophy.
The top 10 will be revealed 7:30 Sunday.
At Chemist Warehouse, we are always here for you. Check out our amazing June catalogue sale on now. Silicea Ultra 1-a-day hair, skin and nails, 30 capsules, $22.99. Healthy Care Coenzyme Q10 150mg 100 capsules, $22.09. LifeSpace Probiotic for 60+ years, 60 capsules, $23.99. And OptiGold Premium Toddler Milk Drink 900 grams, $20.99. Shop in-store, online or call your local store to arrange contact-free delivery. Chemist Warehouse, great savings every day.
At Coles, you can win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone.
It's fabulous.
And $10,000 worth of Coles gift cards. Plus, each week there's a share of $100,000 worth of Coles gift cards to be won. Just spend $20 in one transaction at Coles, scan your Flybuys card and receive one entry into the prize draw for your chance to win a virtual cooking class with Curtis Stone. Competition ends June 30th. See coles.com.au for details. Coles, good things, great value.
It's the final days of Anaconda's massive 20 to 50% off store-wide sale. Huge savings on camping gear, bikes, kayaks, fishing gear, clothing, footwear and more. Some exclusions apply. 20 to 50% off sale. Hurry, final days at Anaconda.
Do you know what type of cough you have? Do you have the right cough medicine? Bronco Dual relieves any cough. It can be used for the relief of dry, tickly, chesty, mucus or phlegm coughs. Bronco Dual relieves any cough.
When your hair's not weighed down, you can do the day. Introducing new Pantene 0% silicone. Unlike silicone found in ordinary shampoos, new Pantene has nourishing lipids. The difference is clear. New Pantene 0% silicone formula gives you lightweight, smooth hair that lasts through to the next day. Do 0% silicone. Do new Pantene.
It's tax time madness at JB Hi-Fi with 15% off HP Asus and Lenovo computers. This Hisense 58-inch TV a crazy $795 and $400 off the latest Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Buy in-store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. Call on Strepsils Extra. Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast.
Get Strepsils Extra at Chemist Warehouse now.
Up next, we speak with George Floyd's family after his emotional and inspiring memorial in Minneapolis. Through the pain, anger and violence, hope shines through. The touching moments from protests across America. And Tim Tams, trampolines and some very tricky bends. Tommy checks in with some seriously talented Aussie kids. The Project next.
Next week, Maggie Beer. Did you have skin on the breast? Bryce Dallas Howard.
It was so much fun.
Deborah Lee Finesse.
We feel busier than we've ever been.
The fit granny wowing the world. And the latest Master Chefs to hand over their aprons join us live. It's all ahead next week on Studio 10.
Now Mike's back with the weekend weather.
Yes, thank you, Jen. Good evening. Today was a hunky-dory sort of day, and the reason I've said that is because we're at hunky-dory tonight, because it is National Fish and Chip Day. I don't think I can eat all that, but I'll give it a go soon. A couple of photos now that have been sent to Mike's Picks at network10.com.au, and they are beauties. In fact, if you thought you were cold in the kitchen this morning, how about these hot air balloonists? Very crisp above Carlton. Looks lovely though. Thank you to Gary Samet. And from Nicole Phillips, a couple of hours before the sun rose this morning, a full moon adding light to this delightful shot of Beaumaris. Nicole, you could look at a career in media. That was a great photo. So 4 degrees, man. It was our coldest start to the morning this year so far, but then glorious this afternoon once we thawed out. Blue skies, light winds and 15 degrees. Outside right now, very pleasant. 11 degrees. Pleasant because there's no wind, just a south-southwesterly at 5 kilometres per hour. Around our city today, and looking at those minimums, that is why you struggled to really roll and get out of bed. It was just downright cold this morning, including -1 in the Yarra Valley. Across our state, well, it was more about the minimums than the maximums. It was downright icy this morning, down to -4 at Omeo and Ararat. Many centres, in fact, 5 or 6 degrees below average for our coldest morning of 2020. And there was also widespread frost. But by day, plenty of blue skies. 17 today's top. Around this mighty big country of ours, cold in Canberra, -5 to 13, and it'll be -4 there tonight. In Sydney, rather pleasant at 19. Warmer still up in Brisbane. Over in Perth, glorious 25 degrees, but they have a change on the way. Over to Perth, the mid-20s this weekend, then some wet weather early next week. Adelaide, cloudy couple of days, and the mid-teens tomorrow and Sunday. Hobart, icy tomorrow, just 10 degrees. A bit warmer on Sunday, 12. Brisbane, 23 the next couple of days. Sydney, 19 tomorrow, 17 and wet on Sunday. And Canberra, frost, fog, then fine, and 12. But down to -4 before that. Across our state, as we zoom in, some fog developing inland overnight. Tomorrow will begin frosty and then mainly sunny across the north, but mostly cloudy in the south with some scattered coastal showers. Winds will be light. Ballarat 1 to 11, Bendigo 0 to 12, Shepparton -1 to 12, but no wind warnings tonight, but there is a severe frost warning. Around Melbourne tomorrow in the Yarra Valley 1 to 13, Mount D 5 to 8, Frankston and Geelong 7 to 13, some fog developing in the outer suburbs. And on the bays, we have west-northwesterly winds at 10 knots, tending south-southwesterly. The sun rising around 7:30, waves only half a metre. Rather pleasant out there on the water. And now for our good-looking city by the bay, 6 to 13 for your Saturday, mostly cloudy with a 60% chance of showers from midday, but with the rain only a mil and winds will be light, so for the most part it'll be okay, especially in the morning. On to Sunday. 7 to 13 degrees, partly cloudy, possibly a morning shower, but again, less than a millimetre. And then for your long weekend, Monday, only 5 to 13 and partly cloudy but dry. And then Tuesday, some of us go back to work, some of us go back to school, and it will be a chilly start to the short working week. 3 to 15 degrees, Wednesday 7 to 15, Thursday 6 to 15, and Friday also 6 to 15. That is the weather. Couldn't have any more, but thank you anyway. Tried my hardest. 13 degrees the next 3 days. I'll see you on Tuesday. Might try the salad. Jen.
You've done well, Mike. That's 10 News First for this Friday. I'll have updates through the evening. For now, good night.
Tonight, we speak with George Floyd's family